Closing the eyes, turning them up toward the third eye, and bringing the attention to the breath. At the moment, just noticing the breath, noticing where we feel it moving in the body, becoming aware of any places, particularly through the shoulders, the back, where we might feel tight, the breath constricted, not flowing freely. And we're not doing anything to force that, change it, or alter it. We're just noticing. Becoming aware of the general tone of the thoughts, the overall mood. Just figuring out where we are before we begin today. As we continue to observe the body from that point between the brows, we can begin to deepen the breath so that as we inhale, the abdomen extends forward, rib cage gently opens, chest and shoulders lift slightly. And on the exhale, the chest and shoulders drop, the rib cage contracts, and we finish by drawing the navel in toward the base of the spine, squeezing the air out of the lungs. This three-part breath, breathing deep to the belly, the pelvic floor, up into ribs, chest and shoulders, exhaling back down, always finishing by pulling the navel up and in toward the base of the spine to empty the lungs. This is our resting breath. It's the one we come back to anytime we need to relax out of one of the exercises. Anytime we need to relax out of one of the more dynamic breaths, we come back to this. Using this as our anchor, breathing deep to the belly, ribs, upper torso, and exhaling back down. Trying to keep the mind focused on that breath, keeping the soundtrack in the head related to the breath, narrating the sequence of deep to the belly, ribs, chest and shoulders. The exhale back down, chest and shoulders drop, ribs contract, drawing the navel in. Before tuning in, let's extend the arms out in front of us, palms open, facing downward, shoulder blades rolled down on the back and together. We're going to begin opening and closing the fingers, still concentrating on that long, deep breath. If we can keep our gaze focused at the third eye, and keep the words in our mind focused on the breath, we'll find that we're able to observe the body and what's happening to it without becoming consumed by it. And so perhaps we begin to notice that the fingers don't respond as quickly as they did when we first began. Perhaps we notice a little bit of heat building in the forearms. We register the information and we come back to the breath. Keeping all the words going through the mind, anchored on that breath, letting that be our focus. Checking in briefly with the shoulders, making sure they're not trying to creep up into the ears. When they do, we take the shoulder blades, roll them down on the back and together, lengthening the neck, helping to keep the pressure off. So you're doing great. Stay with the breath. And then let's turn the palms toward the ceiling, continuing to open and close the fingers. Still anchored on that long, deep breath. First thing we do when we come into the world, inhale. Last thing we do before leaving is exhale. At no point in between do we get to stop. Breathing is what we're here to do. Everything else is simply a detail of the breath you're taking in that moment. And so we keep our attention on the one thing we're here to do. The body knows how to do this. Short of having reconstructive surgery on your shoulder in the last 3 days, there's no reason that the body cannot do this all day long. The only trick is we have to keep the mind thinking about something else, thinking about the one thing it needs to do. It needs to breathe deep into the belly, up into the ribs, chest, shoulders, and we exhale back down. And as we let the shoulders and chest relax, the ribs contract, let's give the jaw a little bit of a wiggle, making sure that we're not tightening the molars, inadvertently tightening the neck. Almost there, you're doing great. Just another 15 seconds. Stay with the breath, breathing deep into the pelvic floor. And always finishing our inhale by pulling the navel in, squeezing the old air out. And let's inhale, both arms overhead. On the exhale, arms gently floating down. Bringing the open palms about 6 inches apart in front of the navel, continuing the long, deep breath, feeling the breath pass through that space between the hands. Getting a charge from that heat, that tingling, that vibration. Any parts of the body which have been stiff, sore, achy, or in pain, we can take the open hands and just lay them directly on. Allowing some of that heat, some of that vibration to gently make its way back into the muscles and soft tissue, using the hands as little built-in heating pads. It's also a good thing to do above your food if you go to eat somewhere and you find that everybody's running around, screaming at each other, cussing, being angry. That's not healthy energy for your food. Keep your hands under the table, do a little bit of the finger stuff, and then spend a moment just charging the food. Makes all the difference in the world. Let's rub the palms of the hands together. Bringing hands to heart center in prayer mudra, shoulders relaxed and down, faces soft. As we inhale deeply, and exhale. And again, inhale. And exhale. And once more, deep breath, deepest one yet. And exhale, drawing the navel in, emptying the lungs as we inhale to chant. Suspending the breath, applying our root lock, pulling the muscles in the pelvic floor and navel up and in toward the base of the spine. Shoulders and neck stay relaxed, face is soft. There's only tension in that lower triangle. And exhale, releasing Mula Bandha, relaxing the hands down to the knees to begin our warm-up with some Sufi circles. We inhale, bringing the heart forward. Exhale, circling the torso around the base of the spine. Coordinating the movement to a deep, full breath. Throughout our practice, it's the breath that determines the pace of the movement, not the other way around. Continuing to observe the body throughout the cycle of breathing, noticing the muscles involved, what's pulling, what's being pulled. And as we begin to notice those muscles, particularly in the hips, abdomen, and back, beginning to relax and release with a little warmth, a little breathing deep, a little movement, we find that the breath can enter a bit more fluidly and freely, allowing us to become a bit more purposeful, more deliberate, or we keep it nice and relaxed, nice and gentle, whatever the body needs most today. You know what kind of week it's had, how it's been handling the heat. So we always want to step into our warm-up accordingly, listening to the body. And once more in this direction, then gently and gracefully allowing the body to slowly begin circling the other way. Still bringing the heart forward on the inhale, circling around on the exhale. As we continue to observe the body throughout the cycle of breath, we notice these are different muscles. So we start slow, we start relaxed, we start gentle, and we wait for the body to tell us that it's ready for a more deliberate breath. And it tells us that through a little relaxation, a little release, hips, back, and shoulders, abdomen, all gently relaxing. And inhaling to center, suspending the breath, applying our root lock, muscles in the pelvic floor and navel, up and in toward the base of the spine. Shoulders and neck stay relaxed. And exhale, releasing Mula Bandha, relaxing the back. We're going to bring the hands down to the shins or the ankles, whatever's in front of us in our easy pose, to begin a series of spine flexes. As we inhale, we bring the heart forward. Exhale, gently rounding the spine. Once again, coordinating the movement to a deep, full breath. And the movement is concentrated in the lowest 7 vertebrae, rocking forward and back on top of the tailbone. And again, as we begin to notice hips, abdomen, and back beginning to relax and release with a little deep breathing, a little movement, a little warmth, then the breath enters more freely and fluidly, allowing us to become a bit more deliberate, a bit more purposeful. We just want to make sure that we're not sacrificing depth of breath for pace of movement. It's the breathing Breathing deep, that's going to put the oxygen in the blood. It's the oxygen in the blood that's going to relax and release the muscles. Shallow breaths with rapid movements aren't going to help. You want nice, full breaths. Continuing to observe the body throughout the cycle of breathing. And inhale deeply. And exhale, releasing Mula Bandha, relaxing the back. Bringing the hands out to the knees to continue our spine flexes. Once again, we inhale, heart forward. Exhale, gently rounding. It's the same movement as before, still concentrated in the low spine. Rocking forward and back. Adjusting the position of the arms simply affects which muscles are helping to initiate movement in those lowest vertebrae. Our first set of spine flexes was concentrated in the low back, upper abdomen, and now we're moving into the middle of both. And inhale. Good. Shoulders and neck relaxed and down. And exhale, releasing our root lock. Hands remain on the knees. We're going to lock the elbows straight for just a few more spine flexes. Once again, we inhale, heart forward. Exhale, gently rounding. Once again, the same movement as before, but now it's those muscles up around and underneath the shoulder blades, helping to initiate movement in those lowest vertebrae. And inhale. And exhale, releasing Mula Bandha, relaxing the back. Turning the hands over, placing fingers in Gyan Mudra, thumb and index finger touching. Focusing up at the third eye for a few long, deep breaths. Taking a moment to check in with the body, doing a scan, noticing what it feels, where it feels it. How that might compare to what we felt like before we began the practice. And then we're going to bring the hands to the shoulders, thumbs in back, fingers in front, for some spine twists. The head is going to follow the shoulders as we inhale, torso gently twisting to the left, exhaling to the right. Once again, coordinating the movement to a deep, full breath. The arms are up to help us keep the chest open, to help us deepen the breath. We're not using them to generate any momentum. We're letting all the momentum come from the hips and the breath. And if we begin to notice the lats and the obliques, the muscles running from the hips to the shoulders along the rib cage, when we start to feel those relaxing and releasing with a little bit of deep breathing, a little movement, a little warmth, then we find the breath enters more fluidly, allowing us to become a bit more purposeful and deliberate. And inhaling the center, suspending the breath, applying our root lock as we extend the arms overhead. Even though the arms are up, we want the shoulder blades rolled down on the back and together so that the neck is nice and long, free to move if we wanted it to. And exhale, releasing Mula Bandha as the arms float down. Fingers in Gyan Mudra once more. Again, long, deep breaths, focused at the third eye. Once again, checking in with the body, doing a scan. Noticing what, if anything, feels different since the last time, simply as a result of that one exercise. And then with the hands resting on the knees, anytime you need to straighten out the legs, shake them out, tap the toes together to get a little circulation going, feel free to do so. We're going to have the hands resting on the knees. As we inhale, the left shoulder comes up, exhaling right. Nice. And let's inhale, both shoulders up. Left. On the exhale, rolling shoulder blades down the back and together. As we inhale, gently turning the head as though looking over the left shoulder. Exhale, gently turning to the right. The movement, coordinated to a deep, full breath, is more important than the pace, more important than the extent of the stretch. This can be relaxed and it can be gentle. We're beginning to introduce range of motion to the neck, but this exercise and those that follow it, primarily a gentle massage for all those glands in the throat center. And now let's use the tip of the nose to slowly and gracefully trace horizontal figure eights. Sweeping the head lightly side to side with a little bit of up and down. Again, introducing range of motion, but primarily a gentle massage. For our throat glands, let's reverse the direction of our figure eights. The thyroid, the parathyroid, hypothalamus, thymus, pituitary, pineal, all of those glands which govern our metabolic system and our emotional state. So we're just trying to keep everything in there nice and relaxed, nice and open, active, and Now let's take the chin, sweeping it down across the chest, slowly and gently continuing all the way around for some full circles. Inhaling as the head rolls up and back, exhaling down and forward. Every breath, whether it comes through the nose or the mouth, every sip of liquid, whether it's water or wine, every bite of food, what enters the body does so through the throat. Let's reverse the direction of our circles. And so we want to keep those glands in the throat open, active, a lot of electricity moving across the nerve endings in that ganglia there. Helping to charge every breath, every sip, every bite. And allowing the head to come to rest in the center. One more quick series here in easy pose, but again, if you have to shake out the legs, go right ahead. You can even do these exercises with the legs extended in front of you. We're going to begin with a toxin flush. So the arms are out to the sides, palms facing downward. As we inhale, arms come up 6 to 8 inches, exhaling below horizontal. Remembering that the body stores toxins in those muscles around and under the shoulder blades, which is why the sweat from the armpits smells different than sweat from the forehead. We start to work these muscles, we burn through some of those cells, releasing the toxins into our system so that we can flush them out and be rid of them. It's not uncommon to feel a sharp pinprick pain underneath one or both of the shoulders during an exercise like this. That would be this morning's cup of coffee, last night's barbecue, craft beer week here in St. Louis. And then we're going to use the hands to gently strike torso, thighs, shoulders, arms, neck. A light percussive massage to loosen the muscles, opening everything up to encourage a strong circulation of the lymphatic system. The body's internal cleanser, that's how we'll get rid of most of these toxins. Some through the breath, some through the sweat. But primarily, the lymph is going to go through and pick up anything we convince the body it no longer needs to hang on to. And that's not just the caffeine or the alcohol. It's whatever was going through our mind at the time, whatever mood we were in. All those things carry a chemical signature and they get signed into the cells when they're being made. So we don't just need to get rid of the wine that we drank when our lover left us. We have to get rid of the self-pity as well. So we give a little extra attention to the space around the ribs. Over on the right, where the liver stores and processes anger, not just yours, but any time you're around it, that's what's going to ping in your body. That's where those chemicals come from in the body. And then over on the left side, where the gallbladder and the spleen process self-pity and bitterness, again, it doesn't have to be yours. And then we're going to bring the hands to heart center with the fingers curled in a bear grip. Inhaling left elbow up, exhaling right. Continuing to work those muscles where the body stores toxins. Continuing to massage and stimulate the lymph nodes around the throat, shoulders, and armpits. And at the same time, the water pump motion helping to prime the circulation of the lymph from the abdomen. Helping to kickstart that circulation with the water pump motion. arms back out to the sides for a little more toxin flush. And a little more lymphatic massage. Bringing the hands back to our bear grip. And inhale. Suspending the breath, applying our root lock, pulling at the bear grip. Trying to keep the shoulders down as we bring the hands over the crown of the head. And exhale, releasing the Lavanda as the arms float down. Fingers in Gyan Mudra once more. Again, long, deep breaths focused at the third eye. Once again, checking in with the body, noticing what it's feeling, where it's feeling it. Let's come out of our easy pose, straightening out the legs, shaking them out, tapping the toes together if we need to get a little circulation going, or lightly slapping the thighs. As we turn our attention now to the life nerve, the sciatic, we're going to begin with the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. As we inhale, both arms overhead. On the exhale, lifting up out of the waist, hinging at the hips, coming down, reaching for toes, ankles, shins, whatever we can comfortably reach today. Lifting the heart up and forward, keeping the shoulders down on the back, away from the ears. Long, deep breaths. Stretch for the legs. If we're feeling it at all in the back, we need to lift the heart center a little more, even if that means shortening our reach, that's okay. We can use our inhale to check in with the posture. Is the heart lifted, the spine relatively straight, the shoulders down? And then on the exhale, if possible, relaxing just a tiny bit deeper into the stretch. Deeply here. On the exhale, softening the spine, gently stacking the vertebrae, one on top of the other, coming to upright. And then switching up our legs. Once again, we inhale, both arms overhead. On the exhale, lifting out of the waist, hinging at the hips, toes, ankles, shins, whatever's comfortable. Deep breaths, again, lifting the heart, keeping the shoulders down. Even if we're not quite at the feet, trying to keep the toes flexed, pointed up and back so that we can pull the stretch down through the calf, through the sole of the foot. Inhaling deeply here. On the exhale, once again, softening the spine, stacking the vertebrae, coming to upright, straightening out the left leg, shaking it out. And then we're going to come down onto the back. If you have a history of low back problems or if the back is tender, we can give it some additional support by placing the hands or a blanket under the hips. It might be necessary to play around with the placement. We're going to lift both feet about 12 inches from the floor. Inhaling, we bring the left knee into the chest. Exhaling, right. Finding a comfortable rhythm for the breath. Feeling the muscles in the lower abdomen and groin engaging. They're the ones doing the work. Everything from the navel to the crown can be nice and relaxed. Let's give the jaw a little bit of a wiggle to make sure we're not inadvertently clenching the molars, tightening the neck. And let's inhale both legs to 90 degrees. And on the exhale, slowly with control, straight legs floating down. Taking the hands out, turning palms toward the ceiling for a few long, deep breaths. And let's bring the knees into the chest, using the hands to gently circle the knees a few times, rolling low back, hips, and sacrum through gentle contact with the ground, and reversing the direction of our circles. And with the knees into the chest, touching the big toes together, then using the hands to gently spread the knees wide, flattening low back and sacrum to the floor. And then reaching for the toes or the sides of the feet as we open the legs wide into happy baby pose and just rolling through some easy, gentle circles. Giving the entire back the opportunity at some point to gently kiss the ground, hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder, sacrum all the way up to the occiput. And then bringing the big toes back together, knees once again spread wide. Bringing the knees together and placing the soles of the feet flat on the floor behind the bottom. Let's begin by taking the right foot, crossing it over the left knee. We're going to take both hands, slipping them around the back of the left thigh, gently lifting it toward us, using the right elbow to apply a gentle pressure against the right thigh or right knee. Trying to keep the tailbone down so that we can just open the hips. We don't want to curl up into a ball. And relaxing the left leg down, switching our feet up. And now gently drawing the right thigh toward us, using the left elbow now to apply the gentle opening pressure against the left leg. And relaxing the right foot down, uncrossing the legs. We're going to lift both knees and the chin into the chest and gently rock forward and back. Rolling ourselves to upright, continuing all the way over, coming to all fours. Here in our table pose, if this is hard on your wrists, you can make fists of the hands for a little additional support through the forearm. As we inhale, we're going to lift the tailbone, dropping the belly, chin floating up into cow. On the exhale, tailbone curls under, spine arches, head drops forward into cat. Inhaling cow, exhaling cat. Finding a comfortable rhythm for your breath. And really trying to lead both of these movements with the tailbone. The temptation is to lead with the head. But when we do that, we tend to only move the top half of the spine. We want to give all 26 vertebrae the opportunity to open, to receive a gentle rub down from the muscles along the spinal column, to gently grind against one another in the dural tube like stones in a polisher. Staying with your breath. This is the single most important exercise we can do on a daily basis to maintain a healthy and youthful spine. It increases the circulation of cerebrospinal fluid, which helps to clear the complexion, aids the vision, improves the memory, in addition to encouraging overall health in the spinal cord. Good. Let's inhale up to cow. On the exhale, relaxing hips to heels, forehead to floor, coming into child's pose. Here in our child's pose, let's take the left arm, threading it underneath the right, laying it flat on the floor with the palm up. If the wrist needs an alternate stretch after table pose, we can give it some gentle circles. And let's bring the left arm out. And then do the same with the right, threading it under, laying it flat, attending to the wrist if necessary. Right arm out. Inhaling back up to our table pose. And on the exhale, gently lowering the torso to the floor between the hands. The hands are going to stay with the shoulders. As we inhale, gently lifting chin, neck, shoulders, chest. And exhale, gently lowering one vertebrae at a time. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. begin to leave the hands on the ground, still not really using the arms, letting the breath and the belly do the lifting. And now with each breath, the arms becoming a little more and more involved. On the next inhale, we're going to come up. If Cobra is comfortable for you, you can fully extend the arms. Otherwise, leave elbows and forearms on the floor in Sphinx pose. Taking a few long, deep breaths here. And on the exhale, slowly and gently lowering one vertebrae at a time back down to the floor. Laying the arms alongside the body, turning the head to one side. If the low back needs a bit of a release after that, we can bring the soles of the feet toward the ceiling and just gently windshield wiper the legs from side to side. Pausing the feet for a moment as we turn the head the other direction. And then lowering the feet, bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders. Inhaling up to our table pose, crossing the feet behind us as we exhale, settling back into easy pose. We're going to open the arms wide, palms facing forward. This position is our inhale. On the exhale, we bring the arms together, stopping the hands just before they clap. Extension of the arms through the strong fingers, helping to pull a great deal of electricity across the chest, helping to break down some of that garbage that's caked around the heart center. And as we stop the hands just before clapping, we stimulate those meridian points in the upper arm, helping to strengthen the heart muscle. Inhale. And exhale, releasing Mula Bandha, arms floating down, giving shoulders and neck some gentle circles if they need them. Then we're going to warm up the abdomen with a little breath of fire. Breath of fire, a short, sharp exhale where we pull the navel in to push everything up and out. And then we simply relax the abdomen. When we do that, it expands. Nature abhors a vacuum, so a little bit of air is going to come in with it. There won't ever be a deliberate inhale. It's going to look and sound like okay. If at any point in time you start to feel lightheaded and you're not comfortable with that, you can always switch to long, deep breaths or ride out the lightheaded. That's why some of us do it. Fingers in Gyan Mudra, fingers, index and thumb touching, backs of the wrists to the knees, shoulders relaxed and down. Focusing the eyes up at the third eye. On a short inhale, begin breath of fire. great. Keep the attention on the breath. Focus on the navel. Whether it's breath of fire or long, deep breaths, really working the navel on that exhale, pushing everything up and out that we no longer need to hang on to. The breath doesn't just provide us with what we need. It's also our most regular way of getting rid of that which we don't. So we want to snap that navel back, emptying the lungs completely. Let's give the jaw a little bit of a wiggle, making sure that we're not inadvertently clenching the molars. Making sure that the shoulders are staying down away from the ears. Great, we're almost there, less than a minute to go. And inhale. Applying our root lock. Once again, shoulders are relaxed and down, face is soft. And exhale, releasing Mula Bandha, relaxing the back. Focusing at the third eye for a few long, deep breaths. Once again, checking in with the body, doing a scan. Noticing what it's feeling after a few minutes of breath of fire. And then we're going to roll forward to bring the feet underneath us and settle back into a squat. If possible, heels are touching, lifted slightly. Fingers resting on the floor between the knees. This position with the chin lifted is our exhale. On the inhale, straightening the legs to a forward fold. Exhaling back down. These are frogs, and we're going to finish our warm-ups with 26 of them. Finish 26 or as many as the legs want to do. Taking the inhale position, the forward fold. Allowing the torso to hang loose and relaxed. Long, deep breaths. Grasping opposite elbows for a little bit of a shoulder opener. Rolling the head and neck through some gentle circles in each direction. Inhale deeply here. On the exhale, with a slight bend in the knees, gently rolling the spine, stacking the vertebrae one on top of the other, and coming to upright. Palms open, facing forward. Eyes closed, focused upward. Long, deep breaths. Body stores its heavy metals in the thighs, so an exercise like frogs floods the system with iron, magnesium, potassium, phosphorus, among others. Noticing what that might feel like today. It's going to be different every day depending on what we've been eating, what we've been doing, how much rest we've had. Just noticing what it is today. And then shaking out the legs, shaking out the arms. We have about 60 seconds. If folks need to grab some water or use the restroom, go right ahead.